He's got a shirt, no hat. Do you have a beer, though, is the question. You're muted, so make sure you unmute before you answer that. Nope, no beer either, then, it looks like.
Nope. Gotta throw it 1:00. So
who do you have today? Like Randy Moss out there?
nope, same guys, man. They're just trying to stay in shape and just kind of not necessarily wishing for somebody to get hurt, but ready for that call when it happens.
And they've got you to keep them ready, right?
I guess, man.
How's the wing feel?
Good. Feels good.
You still throw it over them mountains.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's like riding a bike, man.
yeah. I can't even throw to my kids in T-ball anymore, let alone trying to throw a football, 60, 70 yards in the air. How far can you throw in the air? 70
Yeah,
yards?
right. No, not anymore, man. I can probably get close to 65 though.
Well, I mean, that's pretty good.
It'll work. It'll work.
I mean,
But shit, I ain't doing it that often, man. It's everything's within about a 40-yard radius these days.
Yeah, back in the day, you're sore after working out, playing a game, whatever. You get in the cold tub, you get in the hot tub, you go in there, you get some work done on you. It's all good. Now you just go to the liquor cabinet.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What I have to do too.
I'll throw a little. I got one of those little ice sleeve things. I'll throw it on my elbow and do some 12-ounce curls.
That's what I'm talking about. See, yeah, problem solved. Man, you move on to next week. Got to play next week.
That's right.
Oh man! All right, bud. Gamecocks 2-0. Didn't look good last week, but they did win by 4 touchdowns against South Carolina State. I actually, I'm going to start in a little bit of a different category here. How about Vakari Swain, man? This guy's got 3 punt returns for touchdowns in 2 games. I mean, you know what good athletes look like, Steven. You know what you played with Ace. I mean, everybody, you know what I mean? Like, you know what this looks like. And this kid he's looking like something we've never seen before.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Hopefully he can keep it going, man. I mean, I'm afraid guys are going to stop punting to him. But yeah, I mean that's such a secret weapon to have, man. When you have a guy that can flip the field, not only score touchdowns but also flip the field on possession and all that stuff. I mean that's invaluable. So I think it's all facets of the game, man. If the offense struggles, you got to hope on defense to pick it up. If defense is struggling, hope on offense. And then both of those teams got to rely on special teams every now and then. And got a pretty good player back there to field some punts, and it's definitely helping us out a lot.
Well, you just hit on it a second ago, and that's why I started there, man. You stole my thunder. No, not really. You're in the right lane. The effect of that on a football game is something we're gonna, through the next couple of days on this program, start focusing on just a little bit more, because if you don't punt to him, you've only got a couple of options, right, Steven? You either have to try to punt it away from him if you are going to punt, and that brings a lot of things into. You could shank one. I mean, there's a lot of bad things that could happen, but then also you just might not punt, depending where you are on the field and where you are down and distance wise. Like Vanderbilt could go for a couple of 4th downs this weekend and say, look, I'd rather give them the ball in the 50 the way their offense has been moving than punt to this guy.
Yeah. I think that's a fair assessment. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head.
So I don't have to. Damn, I'm a lot smarter than I thought I was.
No, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. A lot of bad stuff can happen when you start trying to aim the punt. I mean, you hear about it all the time, and you see shanks happen all the time. So yeah. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head, man.
All right. Well, here's a nail I haven't been able to. I've been swinging the hammer for 3 days and I haven't hit it once. Offensively, what are you seeing?
I mean, I think everybody's kind of frustrated with it. I mean, I saw copious amounts of people on social media with, I forgot what the guy's name is. Who is the old offensive coordinator? Dow Loggins.
Dow? Yeah.
Okay. So I saw copious amounts of pictures of him saying like, "We miss you, man. Like, come on back." So obviously people are frustrated with the offense. I think it's a combination of a lot of different things. So when you have an offense with a quarterback that's a Heisman hopeful, that's somebody that's they're saying he's a top 5 pick, top 2 pick, you're expecting the offense to light up the scoreboard, and I'm not blind. I'm nobody else is blind. I mean, we kind of see what's going on. So I think people are just frustrated. So hopefully this game is uh, a little different than it has been the last two games.
Yeah, you're a great person to have this conversation with, Stephen, because in the last, I'd say 14 or 15 years, I know that you and I together, but also just you in general and public and private conversations have spoken about your tenure at Carolina and how maybe some things could have been a little different from time to time if you were allowed to just kind of go be you, right?
Right,
Like
right,
Coach Spurrier had this vision of how he wanted his quarterbacks to play. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Coach Spurrier developed a lot of fantastic quarterbacks over the years, but Stephen, you'll speak on this way better than me, and I'm about to shut up. Not everybody's built the same, and not everybody's built like LaNorris Sellers either. And it does feel like a little bit of a 2-lane highway right now. Like if you had 3 or 4 lanes, LaNorris Sellers might be able to get out there and move around a little bit more freely, the way you and I like to drive. Get this guy out
right.
of the left-hand lane. But it feels like he's kind of stuck in the left-hand lane, but trying to go around a couple of guys to get back into it and get going. So can you speak on that from personal experience and maybe how that might help him a little bit?
Yeah, no, I think again, hit the nail on the head there, man. But obviously we've talked over the last 15 years, and I think Coach Burr definitely learned from what he was trying to do with me and trying to keep handcuffs on me. No pun intended there. But trying to like, keep me from like, you know, being able to run. He didn't want a scrambling quarterback. He wanted a pocket passer guy. And, I was a dual threat guy. And, for him to try to keep me in the pocket, it just, took away a facet of my game that I was really good at and could help the team win. And, after I left, then he let Connor just kind of run wild. And that was Connor's game. Connor was a hell of a lot faster than me, a lot shiftier than I was, and could run the ball a hell of a lot faster. So, I think with Coach Burr letting him do that, I think that's obviously why he was one of the most successful, not only SEC quarter or Gamecock quarterbacks, but SEC quarterbacks, win wise. So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I mean, I think they got to let LaNorris be LaNorris.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know if they're trying to make him, I guess, more of a pocket passer in the eyes of the NFL community and scouts? I mean, I don't know. I don't have the answer. I'm not in the coaches meeting rooms and the offensive meeting rooms. So I don't know, but that's kind of what it looks like from just a fan, watching the game. They're trying to keep him in the pocket, show off his arm, show off his accuracy, and that's just right now. That's just not his game. His game is to make shit happen when shit is down. So yeah, I think just got to let him go. Let him be who he is.
Uh, yeah, and I would never, obviously, I'm not going to put you in a position to sit here and act like you know what is going on in that locker room. That's not fair to Sellers or the football team or any Shule or anybody. I just mentioned this a little bit ago, and I want to mention it again with you because we were talking to the great Preston Thorne yesterday. Love Preston, right?
Mhm.
And he he brought up just what you did a moment ago about developing this young man who's capable of doing anything as a quarterback. We all know that, but developing certain things in his game that maybe make him a better long-term quarterback in the NFL, at the college level, the whole 9 yards. Yes, there were certainly some things that he needed to work on coming into the season. We all know that. Every quarterback always has something
Right.
that they need to work on. There's no question about it. But what Preston was getting at was on Sunday night, we watched Lamar and Josh Allen play football against one another. And when they got to the NFL, they both had things that they needed to work on to get their game to peak performance, which is where it is. They're probably the 2 best players in the league, I guess,
Easily, easily.
easily, right? But it didn't take away from who they were. And like when you watch Josh Allen and you watch Lamar Jackson, and sometimes LaNorris has been compared to these guys and others in offhand ways or whatever the case is, just from an ability standpoint. Yes, they had to refine some things, right? Right, Steven? And
Oh, absolutely.
they had to change their game. They had to do this, do that, or whatever. But they never, ever, ever stopped being who they were. And so what Preston's point was, you don't have to put him into this traditional quarterback box to play in the NFL. He could play in the NFL and at the college game at the top of his game the way that he is just by being who he is.
Right. Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, those guys, Lamar will take off and run whenever the hell he deems necessary. Same with Josh. I mean, those guys are definitely elite runners of the ball, but they're also elite passers of the ball. And I'm friends with Mike White, who was with the Bills this past year, and played golf with him last week. And we're just sitting there talking about Josh. He's like, dude, you would love Josh. He is one of us. Uh, and we were just sitting there talking. He's like, but he's changed, and he's talked about this on his social media about how he's become a rotational thrower. And you see guys like Lamar, and we talked about Lamar as well, and he's improved as a passer every single year that he's been in the league. And I never thought that Lamar's game was going to translate from what he was doing in college to the NFL, just because you saw like RG3 and some of these other guys that were run first kind of guys just got hit. I mean, that's what happens when you run, you get freaking whacked. But I mean, for Lamar to improve how he has improved as a passer, I don't think there's any reason that we should be trying to keep, like you just said, LaNorris in some sort of a prototypical pocket passing quarterback. That's just not his game. Let him kind of be a free range chicken and get the hell out of there and roll and
Mm-hmm.
make things happen.
When you've got a guy with legs like him and you get him out in space, whether you're resetting the pocket or you're rolling him out, getting him out there on the perimeter and things like that, what does that do to a defense that's trying to defend that? What decisions are they trying to
I,
make?
hell if I know. I don't. I don't play defense. I don't pretend to know what the hell defense is trying to do. Uh, but I know if I'm trying to game plan against him, I'm trying to keep his ass in the pocket. You
Okay.
know, Once he gets out of there, then all bets are off. I mean, you're a DB. You don't want to get burnt deep, so you're going to stay back there with the receiver. He's just going to come up and gain 15, 20 yards, whatever it may be. You want to try to stop him on a third and medium, leave a receiver wide ass open downfield. I mean, there's so many different ways you can get hurt by a guy of his athletic ability and running ability.
Mm. That was actually a pretty incredible answer. If I'm game planning for LaNorris, I'm keeping him in the pocket, which is mostly where he's been, and this offense has been slow, to
Yeah,
put it politely. All right, from an offensive line standpoint, they've had their issues. They've mentioned communication and things like that. Who knows? But they've mentioned that type of stuff. If you got a guy back there, you never really know which direction he's going. How does that impact those guys?
that's a another good question. A lot of guys, especially that had that first game against Virginia Tech, like, oh man, our offensive line is struggling. It's this, it's that. It's like, how long do you expect these guys to hold blocks for? It ain't easy to do that. And Virginia Tech's defensive line is not a bunch of slappies. They have some big time dudes. So yeah, I mean it's hard to ask those guys to block for 4, 5, 6 seconds, and not know where LaNorris is going to be scrambling to.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously they know who he is. They played with him last year, so they know that his ability to kind of find the open lane and kind of escape pressure is arguably the best in the country. So they have that trust, but sometimes poo poo happens.
Yeah. Poo happens. That should be on a shirt for sale by the folks at Tailgate Talks, which the newest episode is out today. It's Casey Hayward. Pat gave us a hint on Monday. I guessed it, but I didn't say it out loud because we wanted to make sure somebody could win a prize. Casey, of course, was an elite defender at Vanderbilt University. Casey, Pat said he picked you off 3 times. I feel like he got you twice.
I'm pretty sure I threw three to him in
You threw 3?
2011.
In really?
I think so.
Oh,
I'll have
okay.
to, I'll have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure it was three.
Let's just call it 2. Let's just say it was 2.
I mean, shit, it is what it is. I don't care anymore.
Well, we revise history all the time, Stephen.
Yeah,
Why
that's
not?
that's for damn sure.
Why not just change the books? It is what it is. Rasul Faison, over 1,000 yards last year at Utah State, different from the SEC. And to give Shane Beamer and his staff and his football program a lot of credit, the offseason, chaos around the eligibility of Rasul Faison was created from people like myself. It was not created by the Gamecock football program. They answered questions when they were asked questions, but they didn't just run around all the time creating what it became, right? And then he was
Right.
eligible. And now we've seen 8 quarters of football, and he has had the ball in his hands 12 times through 2 quarters. I wanted to get your thoughts on that. He's supposed to be one of their main playmakers this season, and he hasn't had a chance to make many plays.
Yeah, that is a little shocking, to say the least. I think watching that Virginia Tech game, because I didn't even watch the South Carolina State game for the most part. Um, but the Virginia Tech game, when he got the ball in his hand, he made things happen. So, I think, and I hate to say this, I think that maybe they didn't want to show a whole lot of offensive scheme and what they
Hmm.
were wanting to do against South Carolina State, just because they knew they were going to win that game regardless. Uh, I hate saying that because I just hate that as an offensive minded person. But
Yeah,
maybe that's the case. Maybe this entire week of practice they got something up their sleeve. Maybe last week against South Carolina State they were practicing. Yeah, because I remember doing that with Coach Spurrier. We play a team. Not I don't want to throw any teams under the bus, but a lesser opponent. But we have, say, a Kentucky or a Tennessee or whatever the case may be. The following week we're going to implement plays that we're going to work on the following week to game plan against that following team. So, maybe that's the case. I don't. Again, I don't want to speak for Coach Beamer or Coach Shula at all. But I
sure.
mean, maybe that's what happened. So this week could possibly be a whole different kind of offense that we've seen compared to the last 2 weeks.
Well, it's interesting you brought that up. I wasn't sure whether I would ask you that question or not, but you kind of rolled yourself into it. I'm not sure I've ever had a conversation with anybody who, and I'm not saying that you just did because you don't know, but like when you were playing, like that was a thing of hey, we're not going that deep in the playbook this week. This is what we're doing, and we just need to win the game with this set of plays. Is that does
Uh,
happen?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
Interesting.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
would.
it's not like we're not going to play against Troy and open up the whole can of worms and then play against Florida the following week or Clemson, whatever the case may be, Georgia, and kind of let them game plan for what we're gonna be running against or running. So yeah, I think that it definitely happened when I was playing. So I don't know if that still continues to happen, but I would assume it does.
I'm gonna ask you a. You're gonna go, dude. I don't know. But I just want to hear you say, dude. I don't know. Is there is there real football scientific evidence behind let's not show them what we've got in the arsenal that actually leads to wins? I feel like if you had more to game plan for, that would give you less time to game plan for something else.
I Dude, I don't know.
Okay.
It's funny, man. I was watching. I was looking at something yesterday on I think it was Twitter, and they were talking about why like the service schools run like the wishbone, and why Texas Tech and Mississippi State ran the air raid offense. It's like when you guys master that scheme, you master that all year long.
Yeah.
Now you're playing against a team that only has a week or 5 days, 5 practices to game plan against you. It kind of makes it difficult. So I don't know if that necessarily answers your question, but um, yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily know like why you try to keep things in the bag. I think you kind of let it go so that the team you're playing against has to game plan for whatever the hell you're going to be throwing at them.
Well, if you're right, then Vanderbilt's going to play 11 guys in the box on Saturday. you
I
know,
mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
because that's about all you got to stop right now is just run it between tackles. Somebody's going to do something stupid, and it'll be 3 and out. 20 drives this year for Carolina. 13 of those 20 drives, 6 plays or less. Steven, that
Did I
certainly
lose?
has to
Shit.
improve. You're okay. I can hear you.
Did I lose you?
No, you're there.
Sorry
Can you
about
hear
that.
me?
I had
Can
somebody
you hear me?
call. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got you.
All right, final one for you here. You were the first one to really openly on our program come out on the other side of this this Diego Pavia confidence statement that he made with your guys, the busing with the boys guys. Haven't you hung around those guys before, by the
Just
way?
that one time when they came to the South Carolina Tennessee game a couple
Okay,
years ago.
they've got a pretty good gig going. You and Pat need to get a bus. But I remember you saying we were talking to you, and you said, "Man, I love it. Like if you're not doing that, what are you doing this for?" And it had you, and you were spot on, Stephen. Here we are, a couple months later, right? It's added to the zazz of this game. This game used to not be on the SEC's radar. It's absolutely on their radar now. You got these two quarterbacks going against each other. But then you had their left tackle yesterday who said, yeah, Dylan Stewart, whatever. We're going to go in there and show those boys how we play. I don't know about that one. You know what I mean? Like, I get it if you're Diego Pavia, you're confident you're going to go in and win. We've got South Carolina circled. But now you're calling out maybe the best edge rusher in college football, and nobody seemed to stop him in, a year plus. I don't know. The hoopla going back and forth. Where does that come into play? These guys, what playing in Williams-Brice Stadium is all about, dude.
Oh, absolutely.
It's electric. But I don't anticipate this Vanderbilt team walking in here looking around going, uh-oh. I think they're excited to be in this atmosphere.
I think you're absolutely right. This is not the same Vanderbilt of 2010, and even though, listen, I mean, we talked with Casey the other day, and dude, we always struggled against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt always played us tough. Obviously last year's team, we kind of beat their ass pretty good, but I think moving forward, this coming Saturday, they're not going to be shocked. But again, you got to look at Vanderbilt over the last couple of years, man. Like, who's the guy that they beat some team, and the guy's like, yeah, we want Bama. We want Bama. That Bama came in there and just absolutely pecker slapped them. So, sometimes you got to be careful what you say. But yeah, again, I mean, with the left tackle, you think Dylan Stewart's going to play any faster or any slower based on what this left tackle said? I don't think that's going to change his mentality one bit. I don't think it's going to change anybody's mentality. Everybody says, like, be careful of giving, what is it, board material or locker room material. I don't necessarily believe in any of that. I mean, if you're not jacked up and ready to play and confident in your ability, what the hell are you doing out here?
It'll be important early to start well, I think, if you're South Carolina. That being said, Vanderbilt has given up a total of 3 second-half points this season. I know they played Charleston Southern. I got it. But they were also in Blacksburg, Virginia, where they didn't give up one. So there's something to be said for all of that.